Today is a WRAL weather alert day for a powerful line of thunderstorms that will cross our area midday. Damaging wind will be our biggest threat, but we'll talk about our potential for tornadoes and hail as well.
Those damaging winds will give you a look at some of the devastation this storm has left behind in other parts of the country as it heads our way.
We're ready for its arrival. The severe weather is already hitting parts of North Carolina. This is a live look. King Street in Boone right now. The rain coming down. We will show you the changing conditions as it passes through our viewing area this morning.
And a message for America. President Trump addresses a joint session of Congress, what he's promising moving forward, and the response from Democratic lawmakers. Good morning, everyone. It is 6 o'clock. We have severe storms headed our way. We are expecting high impact weather today, and we're here to get you ready for it and get you through it. I'm Renee Chu.
I'm Jeff Hogan. Yeah, it is a WRAL weather alert day here. We're talking about that strong line of storms here. Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center right now. Folks are going to need to pay attention to this.
Yeah, really, for sure. So right now, we just saw that video or that picture, that live camera from Boone, and you could see the steady rain coming down. Right there, just from, say, Asheville southward, we're starting to see that line really forming up. That line is what's going to help to produce the severe storms. Wind damage will be our greatest threat. Now, the closest watches are down here across Georgia and South Carolina. That orange area is a severe thunderstorm watch. We've had some severe thunderstorm warnings, too, down here, the yellow boxes. That means the severe storm is happening right now. We've also had one of those up into South Carolina, but right now we're mostly seeing rain. A little bit of wind damage has already happened in the mountains. So we take a look at Futurecast, and we're dry for the morning commute. You don't have to worry about it this morning. At 9 o'clock, the line of thunderstorms is still to our west. What you're looking for is that dark red line. That starts to push into our viewing area at around 11 o'clock this morning. We'll pause it at noon. It's starting to move through the triangle, through Southern Pines and up towards South Hill. By about 2 o'clock, it's along and east of I-95. And then by 3 to 3:30, it moves out of the viewing area. Even ahead of those thunderstorms and behind them, we have strong winds in our forecast. Winds gusting 40 to 50 miles per hour. We have a wind advisory in effect, again, outside of the storms. We started to see our winds really picking up. We're now gusting to 34 in the Triangle, 22 in Goldsboro, 24 in Roxborough. So that's up from last hour. At the strongest, we'll see gusts at 40 miles per hour, except within that line of storms, it could be 60 to 75 miles per hour. So wind damage will be our most significant threat, and those straight line winds can do as much damage as tornadoes. Tornadoes for us are a low risk. If we're going to see those, they'll likely be in our eastern counties, and flooding is not likely. Of course, windy and warm this morning. Our temperature will climb up to around 70 degrees. We're going to talk more about why we're more likely to see straight line damaging winds versus tornadoes. Coming up, Ken.
6:02, Elizabeth, happening now. Let's take it outdoors. Give you a live look at one of our major routes, I-40 and Wade Avenue. These are the westbound lane coming toward us, but traffic flowing nicely in both directions as we widen out the view. Nothing but delay-free to report on all of our major routes from Wendell, Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill. We can't stress enough with the severe weather moving our way. You're getting ready to head into the car anytime this morning. Be sure to tune us in on the radio. We'll keep you updated. 101.5 HD3.
The storm system we were talking about, it's headed our way. It's already left a lot of damage behind it. This is video from Mississippi where 2 people died because of falling trees and power lines down. In Louisiana, a possible tornado knocked out all the power there, damaged buildings. Traveling on the roads, be okay this morning during our commute, but as this storm gets closer, dangerous times come as this storm passes through. And Kelsey Coffey is out there in the WRAL Storm Tracker right now this morning, I-40 in Durham. Kelsey, we are expecting those conditions to deteriorate as this storm system arrives.
Yes, Jeff, and just as it hit 6 o'clock, we started to see just a few raindrops here. We just arrived in Orange County now, so you can see some of those raindrops there on the windshield. But we'll give you a live look at Waynesville right now, so you can see conditions there. Lots of rain, lots of wind there. We know that it'll be another 4 or 5 hours before the triangle really gets hit with what you're seeing on the camera right now. But again, we'll give you this live look back here in the triangle, so you can see that there's just a little bit of rain starting right now. This is the first rain that we've seen all morning, but we're really expecting for conditions to worsen as it hits the later morning hours. So we'll be sure to just stay on top of road conditions throughout the morning and keep you updated. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Orange County.
Duke Energy crews are getting ready to respond in case we see power outages with this storm that will bring strong wind gusts. WRAL's Laura Levine joins us live from Duke Energy headquarters in Raleigh. Laura, crews are on standby to help wherever they may be needed today.
Renee, good morning. And we're already beginning to see some of that wind pick up here in downtown Raleigh. You can probably see some of the plants here blowing behind me. But here at Duke Energy, they're talking about this self-healing technology. You may have heard that terminology. It's advanced tech that helps limit the number of customers who experience an extended outage besides and because of damage. So ahead of today's storm and high winds, we asked Duke Energy if it has seen some improvements with this tech so far. They tell us that in 2024, the technology helped to avoid 250,000 customer outages. So when there is damage to power lines, the sensors are able to detect and reroute power to help restore power to customers in minutes, well before crews are able to get to that damaged equipment.
It's a lot like the GPS in your car. If you're driving along and your GPS says there's an accident ahead, take this side road and I'll get you around it and back on your way. Maybe cost you a minute or two, but the delay is not long. This is like a GPS for the power grid. It looks for ways to reroute power around problems to keep people back up and get their power on, or maybe even avoid an outage altogether.
A GPS for the power grid. That's going to come in very handy on a day like today when they are tracking those outages. He also says it's really important for customers to continue to report those outages on the Duke Energy app. So that way, not only they can stay in contact with you, but you can track the restoration efforts in real time. Laura Levine, WRAL News. We're live in downtown Raleigh.
Northampton County schools will close at 11 o'clock this morning. No changes are planned for other area school districts today, including Wake County. Students in Wake County have dealt with makeup days brought on by snow days. The district plans to have school normal schedule today. WRAL reached out to some other school districts as well. And other than Nash County canceling after-school activities, it is business as usual around our area today.
Strong winds from this storm system took the roof off of a jail in Mississippi. The local sheriff says at least 7 inmates were in the jail when the roof blew off yesterday afternoon. No one was hurt. The inmates were transferred to a jail in a neighboring county. When severe weather hits, we want to see what's happening in your neighborhood. When it's safe to do so, take a picture or video and send it to us. Look for the Report It link on WRAL.com or the WRAL News app.
Just before 1:30 this morning, a serious crash shut down part of Stadium Drive in Durham. Police say this crash involved 2 cars, and one of them ended up flipped upside down. You see it. Video from the WRAL breaking news tracker there shows that damage. The road is now back open, and we're working to learn what led up to the crash and if anyone was hurt.
President Donald Trump is laying out his vision for what he calls the renewal of the American dream. He celebrated what he has done in his first 43 days in office as he addressed a joint session of Congress at the U.S. Capitol, where you're looking live. Now, moments into Trump's address, Speaker Mike Johnson ordered the removal of Democratic Congressman Al Green, who repeatedly interrupted the president. In his speech, Trump pushed back against critics who say he's going too far. And that includes his efforts to end DEI programs, dismantle USAID, and firing thousands of federal workers.
My administration is fighting to deliver the change America needs to bring a future that America deserves.
Trump also addressed the tariffs he has put into place on Canada, Mexico, and China. He said there will be a little disturbance in the economy, but promised the end goal of making America rich again will be reached.
Michigan Senator Alyssa Slotkin delivered the Democratic response to President Trump's speech. She says the president's agenda could spell economic doom for the country.
Those keeping score, the national debt is going up, not down. And if he's not careful, he could walk us right into a recession.
She closed her speech with a call to action for Americans to not tune out.
How the U.S. futures are doing this morning, Jeff, it looks like things are pretty good, at least during before opening hours, right? You can see the Dow futures up 239 points, S&P up about 35.25 points, and the futures for the NASDAQ up 151. Watching closely because this is essentially how investors are reacting to the president's speech, but also news from the U.S. Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick, saying on Fox Business that yesterday the United States will apparently meet with Canada and Mexico somewhere in the middle in regards of the tariff talks. So will we see improvement soon? That's something we'll be watching very closely here on WRAL News.
We will. Thanks, Chris. 10 after 6 right now under Wednesday. Wildfire relief. Today's weather could help tamp down some of those fires across the Carolinas. But we'll tell you why officials say the storm also brings new fire threats.
And Bill Belichick will hold his first open practice at UNC today, what we can expect as he's set to address the media for the first time. And of course, Elizabeth Gardner tracking that storm that's getting closer to us.
It is already starting to see some pretty heavy rain and some damage in the mountains. Of course, this arrives here closer to the middle of the day. I'll show you exactly when you can expect to see these strong storms where you are.
Stay safe with the latest WRAL Weather Alert Day info. Get up to the minute weather and traffic conditions when you get in your car. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM, in Durham 96.5 FM, and everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
6:13. Already the winds are beginning to pick up. We're seeing some gusts around the triangle up to 35 miles per hour. It's going to be a windy day even before and after the strong line of thunderstorms comes through. This is a live look at Wilson. You can see those whirligigs spinning around. Today it's a level 3 risk for severe storms. What does that mean? It means we'll see numerous storms developing that could be strong to severe. Timeline between 10 and 3. Damaging straight line winds will be our biggest threat. That means trees down, possibly on cars or houses. It means the potential for power outages, isolated tornadoes, and this will affect everyone in the viewing area. Wind advisory all day long, gusts 40 to 50 miles per hour, but some stronger gusts within those thunderstorms. Already seeing some rain in the mountains and a few sprinkles here. Your future forecast coming up. Ken?
This is happening now. We're going to keep it in Durham County. This is a live look at I-85 near Hillsborough this morning. You can see traffic is definitely picking up, but flowing nicely in both directions. In terms of other major routes in and around the Bull City, 70, 15, 501, all free and clear this morning. As we widen out the picture, you see nothing but green showing up on the map. All on major routes are delay-free at this hour. And Renee, because of the changing traffic conditions, I'll have another update in less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, things will change in the next few hours. Ken, thank you. Even though we have storms in the forecast today, there is still a brush fire risk. The North Carolina Forest Service stresses the importance of clearing flammable vegetation around homes during these dry and windy conditions. There is concern that lightning strikes today could spark more fires in dry areas, but the rain will help a bit.
Obviously, the precipitation will be a welcome sight and a much needed resource for us to help mitigate some of this dryness and knock down some of this current fire behavior and wildfires that we're seeing. But ultimately, there's going to be some wind gusts both before and after that storm.
We do need some rain. The Forest Service is monitoring the dry conditions.
The first state income tax refunds will show up next week. The State Department of Revenue is now processing individual returns and will deposit or mail the refunds starting March 10th. As in past years, you can track your status through the Where's My Refund app on the department's website.
Today, you can learn more about plans to widen NC-42 in the Clayton area. The NCDOT plans to widen 8 miles of NC-42 between US 70 Business and NC-50. The mostly 2-lane highway would be widened to 4 lanes with the raised median. You can learn more and give your feedback during an open house from 5 to 7 tonight at the Clayton Center.
Today, we get a chance to hear from Bill Belichick for the first time since he was hired as UNC's head football coach. Michelle McConaughey is here with what we can expect out of this. Michelle.
Yeah, Jeff, Bill Belichick, we'll see him today. Spring practice started yesterday, but today will be the first open practice, and Belichick will address the media for the first time. We'll get our first look at the new players and new additions to the coaching staff, and Belichick will have his 2 sons on the Tar Heels coaching staff this fall. UNC general manager Michael Lombardi's son Matthew will coach the team's quarterbacks, and this is all ahead of UNC's annual spring football game, which is scheduled for April 20th at Kenan Stadium. The Tar Heels open their 2025 season against TCU on Labor Day. Also, we should note UNC will not be featured on Hard Knocks as previously reported. The school was negotiating with NFL Films, but nothing was official. UNC would have been the first college team to appear on the series, and we'll have full coverage of what Belichick has to say later tonight on WRAL News.
Michelle, thanks. We are still a few hours out from seeing rain moving into our viewing area. We know they're already in the western part of our state, but Elizabeth, we're already seeing those windy conditions on our live camera network.
Yeah, the wind advisory is in place already. Winds are already gusting up to 35 miles per hour in the Triangle. And you can see that here on our camera as we take a look at the legislative building and you see the flags moving around. Fayetteville looking quiet right now with some breezy conditions. Apex, Chapel Hill, all these cameras are looking dry right now, but we're beginning to see a few sprinkles, a little bit of light patchy rain in some spots over near Siler City, a little band moving up through, say, Durham down toward Dunn. But the bulk of the rain is still well to our west, starting to move out of the mountains and into the Piedmont. We take a look at our newest information. This is what you need to know about our WRAL Weather Alert Day. The wind advisory was issued for us this morning. It's already in place and it lasts till 7 p.m. And of course, with a level 3 risk, we have an increased chance of wind damage and a few tornadoes. And this will affect the entire viewing area as this line of thunderstorms moves through. Here's where it is now. We're watching that red line right there. That's going to be where we see the strongest storms. Down to the south, that orange shaded area is a severe thunderstorm watch. That means conditions are right for storms. Most likely that will get extended up into our area at some time this morning. The yellow boxes are where we have severe thunderstorm warnings. And don't take those lightly today. Those severe thunderstorm warnings mean winds could be 60 to 70 miles per hour, knock down trees, cause power outages, and that sort of thing. Let's walk through it on time in terms of the timeline. A few isolated showers, a few sprinkles. Kelsey Coffey saw a few sprinkles on our windshield there on the storm tracker just a little while ago. But our strong to severe line of storms doesn't really move in until around 11 o'clock or so. Roxborough, Durham, Southern Pines right there at 11 at lunchtime. South Hill, Durham, Raleigh, Fayetteville by 1 o'clock. Eastern Wake County, still Fayetteville, South Hill, along and east of I-95 between 2 and 3 o'clock. So that's our timeline for these strong to severe thunderstorms to come through. And after that, there still could be an isolated shower. Our wind advisory for gusts 40 to 50 miles per hour, again, encompasses the entire day, not just when that line of thunderstorms comes through. The reason we're going to see such strong winds is up in the highest elevations, 3,000 feet and higher. We have these very strong winds at 70 to 80 miles per hour. Once the rain starts, it starts to drag those winds down to the surface, and we end up with straight line winds and sometimes tornadoes. Meteorologist Chris Michaels here to talk about the difference between straight line winds and tornadoes.
And exactly, that's really the difference that we've seen so far in terms of the storm, how it's been performing. You look at all these reports, the white is the wind damage reports and the tornado is in the red. And you really haven't seen a ton of tornadoes in the plains or the deep south, but the wind damage reports really carving out a large path. But here's the difference in terms of what you see in damage. If it's straight line, then the trees just kind of fan outward. And with a tornado, they may be spun or kind of sporadic and everything. That's why the National Weather Service a lot of times uses drones when they're doing storm surveys. Regardless of what you see, only when it's safe to do so, send us your reports through reported, WRAL.com/reported. And Elizabeth, when I met with the Weather Service the other day, they said that this has actually been helping them in warning for future storms. So you guys play a big role in that.
Yeah, they really need to see what's happening. We can see what the radar shows us, but in terms of what's really happening on the ground, those pictures, that information coming from you really does help. This is a look at our power outage potential. A lot of that farther east, better chance of tornadoes in our eastern counties. But of course, wind damage, our biggest threat for today. Winds gusting 70 plus miles per hour. It's a much lower risk of tornadoes and hail. Checking the 7-day forecast, 74 today, and then turning cooler and drier on Thursday and Friday. Today, I can't stress enough that it's really important to keep watching us on TV, especially as these storms are coming through. What you're going to see on your phone won't be enough necessarily to keep you safe. Ken?
Elizabeth, happening now. If you're coming in from Johnston County, the Garner area, here's a live look at I-40 and Jones Sausage Road. If you're getting ready to come in from that way, you can see traffic flowing nicely in all directions. In terms of major routes connected to I-40 westbound, you see nothing but zeros running wild, all delay-free this morning. And similarly, all our routes from Wendell, Durham, Chapel Hill, all delay-free at this hour. Because of the changing weather conditions, that severe weather headed our way. Anytime you get ready to go into the car this morning, tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
Also, as this storm moves in, join us for a special edition of WRAL News Plus on Fox 50 this morning at 11 o'clock. Renee and I will be back along with Elizabeth, Chris, and Ken with updates on the weather and traffic. It starts at 11 o'clock on Fox 50. We're also keeping a close watch on the conditions to our west as that storm moves closer. We'll give you this live look right here in Boone, courtesy of resort cams right now. Rain keeps coming down. We will keep you updated on the latest conditions and the threat for severe weather.
A milestone night. The mark LeBron James reached that has never been seen before in the NBA.
This year, LeBron. This What's Trending report, sponsored by Rug & Home.
LeBron James has reached a milestone no other NBA player has ever hit.
Ken Smith is here now with What's Trending.
Renee, Jeff, there's a reason they call him King James, right? He ended last night's game with 49,999 career points. That includes regular season and playoff games. He didn't waste any time burying a three-pointer to surpass that 50,000 mark just 3 minutes into that game.
Gave a little wave to the crowd right there for acknowledgement. Zion Williamson plays for New Orleans, the opponent there. He had 37, but was completely overshadowed by the King grabbing another crown there with that 50,000 points.
Isn't that close to 40?
Huge milestone.
Yeah.
He's incredible.
Yeah.
How about this? Steve Martin and Martin Short going on tour together again. They announced the latest shows of their Dukes of Funnytown tour. Now, the best part is the tour dates include 2 shows at the D-PAC on October 18th.
2 comedy masters right there whose goal is making each other laugh as much as the audience. That will be a fun time for sure. They've been friends for more than 3 decades now, and they certainly have a great chemistry. And get those tickets, you know, they'll go fast.
Good ticket at the D-PAC. Ken, thanks. Wake County Schools will present its Pieces of Gold performance tonight at 7 o'clock, Martin Marietta Center for the Performing Arts. Talk about a hot ticket. It'll feature more than 700 students from nearly 50 schools at all grade levels. Their performances include dance, chorus, orchestra, and musical theater. And Elizabeth Gardner is the host for this. Elizabeth, can't wait.
Whew, it's going to be a long day, but it's going to be fun. In the meantime, of course, we'll be tracking these severe storms as they cross our area. Already seeing some heavy rain in the mountains and some wind damage. Some sprinkles starting to fire up in our area right now. I'll show you when you can expect to see the severe weather.
This storm has already left damage behind in other states and at least 2 deaths. We'll show you more video of the powerful punch this weather system is packing.
President Trump shares his vision for America with a joint session of Congress, what he is promising, and the response from Democratic lawmakers.